And they're like, oh, they just do. And it's like, you're the one that's creating that stress. You're the one that's putting yourself in that position. You know, if it's going to stress you out, you don't actually have to do it. Like, you know that, or you know that you can do it in a different way, that it's not going to stress you out. I don't think all stress is bad stress, but that's a completely different conversation. But yeah, like self-sabotage, people are just stressing themselves out. And then when you give them a logical answer, they just say, oh, it's not that easy. Why not? Why is it not that easy? Like, it can be. You're doing it to yourself. I'm like, stop putting that stress on yourself and make it easy. Make it easier on yourself. I just think self-sabotage nowadays is just crazy, through the roof.
Yeah, and just to wrap that up with a quote from my favorite, because I want to transition into the college and education side of things. One of my, my opinions on college are what they are. We'll get into it. But when I was at university, one of my favorite professors that actually gave me the opportunity to really go to Nova, shout out Cheryl Babcock. She told me the first day I got there and the day I graduated, that if it is to be, it's up to me. And it really stuck with me, like, especially when she reiterated it at our graduation. She's like, she asked me what I was doing and how the business had transitioned from what I was doing in luxury sales to like this more social media podcast, space. And she's like, you can do it, Jack, because if it is to be, it's up to me. And just keep reminding yourself of that, and you'll take the action and you'll get around the right people. And, naturally people will become attracted to you, because that's how that's how I live every single day. Like I always say, like, I don't have bad days. Like, we all have bad days, but bad days are perspective. For me, I know it comes back to me. For me, a bad day is like, okay, what I just was, it was on me. I wasn't as consistent that day. That's really all it was. It wasn't a bad day. It was a lazy day. And tomorrow's can be totally different.
Yeah, no one's coming to save you. It's all up to you. And as you said, like, I can't remember the quote, but if it's to be, it's up to you, or whatever it is. Like, yeah, like, as I said, no one's coming.
It's up to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no one's coming to save you. You're the only one that can create that reality for yourself. So, go out and get it.
All right, George. So what is your, first off, because we have the opportunity, and obviously, my audience is going to be 99.9% US based, except for my old roommate. What's it like living in the UK, and what do most people get wrong about
it? What's it like living in the UK? Right now, fucking awful. As I was saying to you, as I was saying to you just before the pod, I just got a notification that our Prime Minister has resigned. So that was crazy. We are literally in like the worst recession right now. Obviously sort of globally, but the UK, in my opinion, is getting the worst of it. Or one of the worst of it. So yeah, it's definitely a tough time for us at the moment. However, it is home. It always will be home to me. I absolutely love London. There's something about London, being in the city, the bright lights. It's just, it's very inspiring. There's a great network in London. But, yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. Like, people say about London, like, our favorite city on earth. And for me, it definitely is. London is definitely my favorite city on earth. But it's also very easy to get trapped there, get sucked into the matrix and all of that. But yeah, it's a tough time at the moment. But all round, it's not bad at all. I wouldn't say I've personally, I don't know, like, also to say what you said there, like, what's one thing that most people get wrong about it? Honestly, I haven't heard many people's many outsiders like perspectives of the UK. So I don't really know. Like, I don't know what your perception is of the UK, but if you give me yours, I can sort of tell you. I can tell you if it's right or wrong.
I think the first word that comes to mind is posh. I think is like a common And I guess I think you have an understanding of that. Like just like from what I hear, like whenever people kind of talk about it, it's
Yeah.
like we tend to
Okay.
stereotype that it's like it's very preppy and everyone is, you know, business professional, you know, and like, you know, you
No.
have the
Okay.
of course we think of the queen, so we're comparing the
Yeah.
queen and the civilians and being like, okay, well what's the in between of that? And it's going to be someone
Yeah.
relatively, you know, preppy and posh and cares about, you know, nice
Yeah.
things,
So
but I can't imagine, you know, everywhere it's like that, right?
like honestly, completely like the opposite in a way. Like 99% of the UK is the opposite of preppy. Is the like I personally I'm very well spoken. You know, I like to carry myself in a certain way. I like to behave a certain way, body language certain way. But then 99% of the UK is like, oh fucking hell, bruv, what you saying, bruv? Like it's just very like people think we're very posh, well spoken, things like that, but like and almost it creates that like perception of like safe in their mind. But if you come to London and you wear like a nice watch, like you're gonna get stabbed. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a big it's a really bad there's a lot of knife crime in England, which is a thing that people don't know about, and like it's a serious problem that the government haven't like honed in on or anything at all yet. But
Why
yeah,
not?
like I don't know. Like they've done little things here and there, like they've done little campaigns and whatnot, but nothing that's really made like a serious impact. But yeah, like honestly, just there's like this big sort of gang culture and everything like that in London, that people don't even know about. But yeah, like face value, people just think we're like posh, well spoken, all of that. But I guarantee if you come to London, you'll get like a big reality check, because there'll be like guys in all black that are like, they've got a knife in their pocket and they're like, oh fucking hell, bruv, like give me your watch, bruv, and all of that. So like, yeah, it's honestly, it's crazy. But yeah, London is definitely not what people think it is at face value. But I say that at the same time I say it's my
Yeah.
favorite city on earth. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's very ironic.
it's
But
a
I don't
weird.
blame you. I mean, like you said, it happens everywhere, right? But I'm glad you pointed out that that is more common, because like we definitely, as much as we have like knife crime, it's like that's just another day in New York City or Miami. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna expose yourself like that, then yeah, there's just nasty people, because there's 7 billion people here and they're not all gonna be good. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
I'll
it's
be
about your environment and where you put yourself.
I'll be honest, it's a tough sort of subject for me to talk about because I don't know too much about it. Like I sort of remove myself from that whole world, and like, you know, I don't really put myself in the position where like I know much about like the current English culture or anything like that, or like what's going on. Like I'm very much in my own world, just like my business, my network, traveling, things like that. So um yeah, it's tough for me to sort of talk about like what's going on in the UK at the moment, because also I don't even watch the news. Like I just got that notification about the Prime Minister. I see big things like that, but obviously I don't watch the news because,
Right.
you know,
Dude, we are the same person, bro. Ever since my non-choice of candidate took over in the U.S., few things I did. One, stopped watching the news. Really stopped watching the news during election season because I just didn't care and it was all fake anyway. And like that news notification on my iPhone is like how I stay in the loop with the big events. That's literally it. And honestly, when it goes off sometimes, I think it's a text and then I get mad because it's just some stupid headline from CNN that I don't care about. And
yeah.
yeah, like it was just, it's very interesting that you said that thing about the phone, because I just I do the same thing in the US.
I
I'm in
don't
my
want
own
to.
element. You know, you don't involve with these people. They don't pay attention to what you're doing. You just do your thing. Right.
Yeah, obviously, like I don't want to get you banned or anything like that, so I don't want to take too much of a deep dive into it. But like, so I'll be careful, sort of, with my
Yeah.
words. But like, even what you said
Yeah.
there, like my choice of of like you said, the news is all fake, right? But like even the government is fake. Like you sort of said my choice of candidate, but honestly, like if that candidate that you wanted in parliament or in government or whatever you call it, like if they were in power, do you really think anything would change? Like, no, because the government is a whole fucking scam. They're not the ones that are actually in charge. If anyone knows the ones that are actually in charge, it's the ones who control the money. Who controls the money? The central banks. Who owns the central banks? No one fucking knows. So, you know, no one actually knows who's in charge.
So glad you said that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to get into like a too deep dive into this, because you know this could easily be taken down for me just saying the wrong thing. But
yeah, we won't get into like we'll stay away from the big, you know, the big elephant in the room of really why we think this and how it was literally exposed. It exposed everything about it over the last 24, 27 months. If you're in Australia, it's probably still not over. But yeah, that highlighted a lot of like, I think it woke people up, and I think it was good, because all I've seen since, you know, we've started to see this normalcy again is innovation, is how do we make sure that never happens again, and how does each person that was impacted by it position themselves to where they don't have to be reliant on it. And I think if you were able to make that connection, and you're taking this time now to, you know, to reinvent yourself in a way because of what was just kind of laid out right in front of your face, then I think you're going to be very successful in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's, again, why I love talking to guys like you and the other guys, because I know we're all going to wake up in 5 years and, you know, who knows what's going to happen or what the hell they're going to try to do. And we're going to, you know, be in our penthouse being like, all right, well, we're going to watch the games go down and it'll be funny and we're not going to worry about it. You know?
Exactly. I love talking to guys like you as well, and like people that like know that the government aren't actually the ones that are fucking in charge, and they know the sort of secrets, and they're actually awake to it and awake to what is going on like right in front of our eyes, and they're not like in that unconscious state, just, you know, going day to day, 9 to 5 matrix, all that stuff.
Yeah, because like we said, and I think that's the best way to kind of wrap up that part, is the system is not here for you, you're here for you. So you were born here and all that stuff existed. There was people that were born before that existed and they made it out totally okay, doing exactly what the only thing they could do, if you think back to the beginning, was trust their instinct. So, you know, if you can wake up every day and you can just trust your instinct and not, you know, don't depend on the system for anything, because it's not here for you, it's here for them. Exactly. And, you know, you're here for you. So learn what you need to learn about it. And then
I always say it, like, anyone that thinks that the government still have your best interests at heart, especially after what has gone on, as you said, what has gone on the past, like 72 months, whatever it is, 72 months? No, I don't know. But what has gone on the past
5 years, but yeah.
What has gone on like the past 2-3 years, whatever it is, like anyone that still thinks the government has your best interests at heart, that's just delusion to me, to be honest. So we're probably not going to get along, but yeah.
I gotta hold back on a comment I'm gonna close that with.
Let's take it easy, because we don't want to get banned.
Yeah, let's touch on, did you go to university? Did you go to college?
Yeah, no, so I'm a college dropout, never made it to university. It was funny. I was at a dinner with a few friends the other day, and we were just going around the table like uni dropout, uni dropout, uni dropout, because like it's just so sort of normalized for entrepreneurs nowadays. Like, yeah, you dropped out of college, you dropped out of uni, yeah, same. But yeah, no, it's funny because I hear so many people saying like they dropped out of university. I didn't even make it to university. I dropped out in my second year of college. So yeah, only did sort of the first year did the first year of college,
And just for
then
some like context, how does that system work where you're at? Because like you said, you were at university for 2 years, but you didn't go to college. What would that mean for like us kind of here to kind of put it in perspective a little bit?
yeah, sure. So we have, just starting from the beginning, we have like primary school. You do like six years of primary school, and which I'm not sure on the sort of age range. And then you have secondary school, which I guess is like your sort of equivalent of like high school sort of thing. So you do 5 years of secondary school, and you leave secondary school when you're about 16. And when you're 16,
Okay.
you go to, so we go to college at 16. And
Gotcha.
I like, and that's when I got into business, right? So sort of the first like year of college, yeah, my mind was like sort of split between like college, business, that whole dilemma that most people have. And
Mhm.
yeah, so did about, I say it was 2 years of college, but I wasn't quite there until I was 18. Ooh. Yeah, I wasn't quite at college
Mhm.
till I was 18, so it was like a year and I don't know, maybe 9 months, something like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
you go to college at 16, and then you I did, yeah, so I did about a year and
Oh,
9 months, and then I dropped the fuck out because yeah, absolutely hated it.
gotcha. And what was your area of study in that kind of year and 9 months? Or do you not get to specialize until, because here you take 2 years of like your college, but it's really just like prereqs of stuff you learned in our high school. And then like the last 2 years of your college, you actually get to do what you went there for. That's why I say it's a scam, because it's like, why would I spend 2 years taking high school classes again? Is it similar there to where like you have to spend uh, 2 years before you can pick a specialization, or do you go right in at 16 with an idea of what you want to do? And if you did, what was yours?
Yeah, no, college you'll pick straight away. You'll pick what you wanna go into straight away. Um, Mine was actually so fucking crazy, like the difference between entrepreneurship and sort of like this. Well, it's not a crazy difference, but like acting. So I wanted to be an actor, which was
Okay, cool.
you know, crazy, pretty different to what I'm doing now. But yeah, that was interesting, and yeah, you know, taught me some skills, but honestly, like I just started to hate it. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, that's my short answer.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I just hated it.
Yeah,
Had such a
it
such a
felt
love.
uncomfortable, and you made a move, right? Like, was it tough to make that move, or is it more of a common thing over there? Like,
It's
was
not
that a tough decision you had to make?
it's not common, but I'm not a common person. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that sounds bad. That sounds like horrible to sort of. You know, I'm not shitting on people going to college. If you're at college and you're content in what you're doing and you're studying
Of
what you
course.
want, then like great, good for you. Like I really hope you find success with it. And you
Yeah.
know, I'm rooting for those people. The people that don't want to be there, maybe evaluate your options. But yeah, as I say, like it's not common at all to drop out of college at like seven. So I was 17 at the time. To drop out of education at 17 is not common at all in England. But you know,
Yeah.
was it scary? No, not really. Like for me, just the person that I am, didn't find it scary at all. I knew it was the right thing for me to do. And
Good.
yeah, I did it. Like for my parents, was it scary? Yeah, they like so my mum's actually a college teacher. So
Oh wow.
for not only is she a college teacher, but she's also my mum. So for her to hear that I was dropping out of college, like yeah, that was terrifying for her. Um, and I didn't let that sort of infect me. Like I didn't let her fear like sway my decision whatsoever. Um, so
Mhm.
yeah, like for me, no, it wasn't scary at all. In regards to it being
Mhm.
like common in the UK, definitely not. Like everyone around me was like, "Oh my god, like you have dropped out to start a business. Like that is if anything, like you said, it's common. If anything, it's like unheard of in the UK. Like to drop out of college at 17 and go and start a business, that's like, it
Yeah.
really is unheard of. Like in America, to drop out of college, I think you're a little bit older, so it might be a little bit more common in America. But yeah, over here,
Right.
like, no,
Yeah.
it's unheard of.
Yeah, because 17, dude, I was in my third year of high school, and I didn't finish. I finished college a year early, and so I still would have had 4 years from when I was 17 to when I finished. And if I went to college all 4 years, I would have been 22. Like I would have had 5 years from when you dropped out before I would have
Yeah,
been like
100%.
free.
Like
Yeah.
I'm
Interesting, dude. It's very
I'm
cool. That's a
so
big yeah, like that's big no matter where you're at. 17, like like I
I'm
commend
so
you a lot for just having that trust in yourself.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I always say it, I'm so thankful that I did it when I did it, because for example, I dropped out of college at 17, right? If it takes me 6 years to become successful, I'm only going to be 23. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jesus, it won't take me 6 years, and it hasn't. Well, I'm fairly successful now, I guess, and it hasn't taken me 6 years at all. So, like, I've got so much time, and I daily, like genuinely daily, I thank myself for that. I'm like, thank you for making that decision, because you started so young, and thank you for starting so young, because, I've really learned so much since then, and it's really just blown up like bigger than I could ever imagine. So I'm so thankful I did it that young, and I did it at that stage. You don't have to by any means. Like, I think you can get started like no matter what your age is. But I definitely think the younger you start, yeah, the better. Like, why not?
Yeah, because it's like we said, it's like getting your reps in. I had this mentor that I mentioned, on the last episode, and shout out Chase again, where he saw me come to school at 18 with what I was doing, and was like, why are you running track? Why are you studying this? Why are you taking all these classes? Like, if you want to get good at this and get successful, when you want to be successful, like, you have to be all in. And I was always just like, oh, I can do everything. I did everything in high school. Like, this is just what I'm doing. But then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm graduating a year early. I don't need to be, if I'm running track 6 days a week at 6 a.m. with a meet on a Saturday, then do I really have time to operate my business from, 10 to 2 in the morning on the nights that you have to do that? Like, no, like I didn't even have time to realize what I wanted the business to look like. And so my summer going into my last year, I stopped running and was like, okay, I took my last year of college, which the last year of college in the US is fairly simple. You're not like overloaded with classes. You're trying to get your degree and get out. And then this year, my buddies have their fourth year, and I said, this is my fourth year is my business. So me waking up every day instead of going to class is watching a YouTube video to get better, is hosting a podcast to get better, is, designing a system to where a new client can come in and just, they have success early, using our systems. And that has helped a lot, right? Like, I graduated in May, and now June, July, August, September, October, we're really trying to close out the year strong. And I've been more dialed in than I've probably ever been. It took releasing like you said, like the thing that, isn't exactly what you feel like you should be doing, to allow myself the opportunities, like, because now I don't have scheduling conflicts. I can work from anywhere, right? Like, it's like,
Exactly. And
somebody wants me to be somewhere at some time, I can get there.
exactly. And it goes to like I don't know if you've ever heard of it, or if any of your audience have heard of it, but the 80-20 principle. And that's like,
Okay.
You just said there, like, you're working on your business from 10 to 2 at night. Like, that's 4 hours. And say you're in college, or say you're in school for 12 hours, you're spending triple the amount of time on something you don't want to be doing. And you're spending a third of the amount of time on something that you want to be your future, and something that you want to do. So the 80-20 principle is like switching that. Spend 20% of the time on like stuff that maybe you have to do, or like just whatever, and 80% of the time on things that are actually towards your future and things like that. So you spend 80% of the time on your business, and then maybe you do some online college on the weekends or whatever, or you work a 9 to 5 on the weekends, but during the week you focus on your business. Like, yeah, the 80-20 principle is so powerful, and people need to go out and research it. But like, yeah, as you said there, to work on your business from 10 to 2, that's only 4 hours, but you go to college for 12 hours and you don't even want to be in college. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
And, you know, in our case, and I don't, like I said, I know it's all different wherever you're at, like, we're paying a lot. Like, it's not it's not like the cheapest thing in the world. And just to, you know, go back, because I like to make a point of this, I went to college knowing I was going to study business. And if you know that, then you are there. What you'll realize, and I hope I didn't know this going in, but you'll realize you're there to network, and you're there to, your schedule is easier because I realize you should be using that time to go out and make connections. And yeah, you should go out on a Thursday night because you don't have class at night. You don't have 7 classes a day. So, you know, you can wake up at 10 a.m. the next day and, you know, like have a connection the night before that the kid who's got to study for med school can't do because he can't go out on a Wednesday night. Right. And depending where you're at, those opportunities kind of come. So like, is it worth the money? Like, not necessarily, but if you take advantage of the opportunity that you are in an environment with a bunch of people who are also paying to be there, who are also focused on something, then it's not the worst place to be for 4 years, because on the flip of that, you could be commonly here. People they'll stay home, they'll work at a restaurant, they'll be around those types of people for 4 years instead of at least some people that are, you know, dedicated to something and trying to get better. And they have,
I hear it all the time. Like, I get on sales calls with prospects and things like that. And, you know, maybe they'll say, obviously it's a common objection in any business. Maybe they'll say they can't afford the program, which is fine. That's completely, you know, I hear what they're saying. That's completely reasonable. But my next question is, okay, you're in college, right? So, you know, how much debt have you accumulated going into college? And they're like, oh, 30 grand. And it's like, so you're going to spend 30 grand on something that you don't want to be doing. And this is a program that you have just told me you seriously want to be a part of, and you seriously believe that it can make a massive change in your life, but you won't spend a fraction, like not even close to, we don't charge close to 30 grand. Like you won't spend a fraction of that price on something that you actually want to be a part of and you actually believe can change your life. But you'll spend 30 grand plus. Like 30 grand's the cheap end of college. Like most people are spending a heck of a lot more than that. And you'll spend that money on something that you don't want to be doing. Like, yeah, cool. Sounds like you've got it all figured out.
Right, like that. It's so interesting to me now, you know, living and I want to make a point on this. I think living in the content age and like just the information age, there's the people we learned from people who didn't have the resources we had to find out if, you know, the world was a different way than we perceived it, because we only perceive it from, you know, your parents for 18 years or, you know, whoever raises you, and whatever they choose to expose you to. And then at 18 here, you know, you get a little bit of freedom and you start seeing what's out there. Back in the day, you had to kind of do that naturally. Here, it was like at 14, I could kind of see where I wanted to be at 21. And so I could learn the things I needed to kind of learn to get there at 21 if I wanted to, or like at 16 or 18. You're still 3 years ahead, you know, of waiting to finish college to be allowed to have that opportunity. And I just think it's really like, it's evened the playing field to an extent where it's just no longer a strong argument for me that, you know, you have to be like college educated to get a good job or to get a good opportunity, or, you know, you don't, because you can learn anything you want to learn on the internet. And it's just having faith in that. If college gives you the faith that it's going to work out, then at the end of the day, you're paying $30,000 for a libido effect, right?
Yeah.
That you 100%. Can get from anything.
Like, you know? Honestly, Honestly, this is like an unexpected conversation. I didn't expect to be like talking about college and stuff, but it's something that I don't speak about enough, to be honest. Like these are all
Yeah,
topics
good.
that these are all
I love
topics that I
talking to
don't.
people that didn't go through it or went through a different experience. Obviously, you being from, the UK, it's going to be a different experience regardless. But your
Yeah,
points you make are just so similar. Whether the guys drop out at
yeah,
17 or 22, they have that same realization that you had then, right?
yeah, and like as I say, it's not a topic I expected to be talking about, but it's definitely one that
Mhm.
I'm willing to talk about, and definitely one that
Sweet.
I always do talk about, just probably not on camera. But yeah, as you said there, like the people that we're learning from as well, like people will go and get a business degree or whatever, which means fuck all. But they'll learn it from they'll get that piece of paper from a person who has never started a business. Like
Yes, yes.
that
Yeah.
just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Or they'll learn about finance or whatever from someone who's never actually been a successful investor or anything like that in their life.
Mhm.
And yeah, like how can you fucking trust someone who's never done the thing that they're teaching? And as I said
Yeah.
earlier, people pay tens of thousands of pounds to people who have never done the stuff that they're teaching, but they wouldn't pay someone like me a fraction of the price. Whereas I've actually been through the stuff that I'm teaching. I can connect with them on that, and I can pull them out of it and really change that aspect of their life. But it's just the way of the world. And, I don't see it changing anytime soon, but hopefully, we've woken up a few people to it with this podcast. Maybe people will see it in future and they'll wake up to it. But yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll begin to wrap it up here. I want to know, as a coach, and like you said, you've been, privately for 3 years and you're starting to really get into it. What advice would you have for someone who's thinking about going that route as well?
Coaching.
Yeah.
Sell before you build, right?
Interesting.
So what I'm talking about here is there's three things. So one is you want to build a community. Two, you want to tailor your product specifically to that community, right? Because then you're going to have an incredible product. Like,
Mhm.
If you're selling whilst you're building, then you're building a community and you can tailor the product specifically to that community that you have built. So your product is going to be incredible. And then also you're collecting cash. So you're minimizing your risk like massively. So because you're selling whilst you're building, so you're not like investing a ton of money and a bunch of time and things like that. So you're collecting cash. So those are three things: is building a community, tailoring the product specifically to that community, and collecting cash at the same time. And that is how you're going to really build something incredible. It's also how you're going to test that the thing actually works, because you don't want to invest a bunch of time, money, effort into it if you don't know that it's actually going to work. I've done it in the past. I've built a business that I've put so much time, energy, and effort into, only to find out that it hasn't actually worked. So definitely sell whilst you build. It's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit the customer. Like it's advantageous for everyone. So definitely do pre-sales and sell whilst you build. I also heard something from Kevin O'Leary recently. He said it was a concept about like taking something around the back of the barn and shooting it. So like if something's not working, just kill it. Like just take it around the back of the barn and shoot it because it's not working. Like just, you're not giving up. You're just like optimizing your time. You're optimizing your effort. Like where
Yeah.
can you actually put your time and your effort? And it doesn't have to be the whole business. It could just be a task within the business. You take that task round
Yeah.
the back of the barn and you shoot it because that task is using up your time. It's using up your energy and you don't actually need to be doing it. So, yeah, definitely getting rid of the things that you don't actually need. You can outsource them or you can just kill them off completely. And yes, sell whilst you build, because then you're going to create an amazing product, and you're going to minimize your risk. So it really just, it benefits everyone. And also just find, God, there's so much advice that I could give about coaching, but yeah, also just find like what your thing is. Cause everyone's good at something. Like you could be really good at yoga instructors, always a great one, and you can create a yoga program, like, and people, there are people out there that are willing to pay like thousands for an online yoga coach. Like you'd be surprised. So there's tons of places that you can provide value. Just find that place, create your program around it. And yeah, there's so much stuff with coaching, but it's an amazing business. It is really, really going to fulfill you. Like you're going to feel so fulfilled from this business, because you're going to be helping people. You're going to be helping your students. You're going to get some amazing feedback. And yeah, it's a beautiful industry. It really, really is.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's definitely something I'd love to dive deeper in with you kind of off camera, because I just getting to know you, you know, like I could really respect your perspective and how like much time you've really put into it, and like just kind of crafting the, you know, how it goes. But you didn't, like you said, you tried setting it up before, and then, or setting something up before, it wasn't clicking. And then you tried this strategy that you just told us, you know, sell before you build, or sell while you build, and you started seeing success, because like cash flow and, you know, certain things like that just, they allow the business to be functional. And, you know, that concept you explained, I think I like that that's how you learned it, through coaching. And I like that it applies to really any business, because I can tell you the first thing with my social media marketing agency, you know, that's how we started, and that's how we continue to roll. You know, I'm not going to stop innovating. I'm going to find better ways to do this. And, you know, these early clients they're going to have the early ways of doing it, but they stay with me and they grow with me, then they're going to be able to feel the most drastic improvement too, because they're going to have the experience from system 1 and the difference in system 2. And then the guys that just joined at system 2 are going to be like, oh, well, this is what it is now. And we keep innovating, and, you know, system 3 is their breakthrough. And I think finding a CEO and finding an agency or like a coach like yourself that has that viewpoint on it, that is open that they are building and that they are working kinks out, or just, you know, they're doing it, is a way better way of retaining clients and just keeping your community engaged, than saying, this is the step-by-step how to do it, and I'm just going to keep reselling it until, you know, I don't feel like making money off of it anymore. Like I see people do that in the coaching game, and I really just despise it. Like I think it's the easy way out. I think they're not taking the time themselves to get better, and that's not anyone I want to learn from. I think I want to learn from the guys that, their course is changing year to year, because the world's changing, and because you have to stay alert to it. Don't just get hung up. Oh, you taught that, but you didn't teach this. Like, okay, I taught that in 2019 and it's 2023 now. Like,
and people like, as you said, people don't realize I could have charged thousands for what I just told everyone. Like that little formula that I just gave you, like sell before you build, and the 3 things that you need to check off. Like I've really just taught everyone and your audience, like how you can start a coaching business. There's no reason why people can't go away from this podcast now and start their own coaching business. And that's something I could have charged thousands for, but I don't really care. Like I'll give it away for free, because I'm just a nice guy. But
it's the decision, right? They have to choose to watch this. If this gets 150 views, and there's still 7 billion people that have no idea how to start a coaching business. So, or if people don't wait and want to watch until an hour and 5 minutes in, then they're not going to get this kind of value, right? Like I put it in the show notes. I want people, like everything will be that I showcase in the podcast, people can jump straight to. That's one thing I've learned through podcasting. My first 11 episodes, I didn't do that though. So we come right back to build while we go. Here's a better way for me to get longer watch time, is show people what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. And that's just the reality we live in. Right.
Honestly, it's probably kind of stupid on my behalf. Like I could have said, for example, when you said, oh, what's some advice for people to start a coaching business? I easily could have said, oh, just shoot me a DM and, we'll jump on a call and then I can show you how to start your own coaching business. And then I could have pitched them on a $3,000 service that, I could have showed them how to build a coaching business. But, that's just, I don't know, like right now, that's not my mission. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I probably could make a lot of money or something like
possible, that. Right? Yeah.
Hey?
Like you showcase, all you did there was show your expertise. And that's what I like to give people an opportunity to do on the show is like, these people are experts for a reason. It's my job to kind of find out why. And I think, an hour and 5 in, we really got to pinpoint that. Now, what are 2 questions you have for the host?
Just 100%. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Just 1 second. So like one thing, on just to wrap that up, like one last thing was that, it's something I heard from like Gary V, but like, I truly believe it. Like, I don't believe in too much free value. Like, I truly believe that like I can really say what I want and just give away as much value as possible. And I know that that's only going to attract like more customers to my business and things like that. I don't believe in like holding stuff back and saving that for my higher level program. Like, I just don't believe in that. As I said at the start of the podcast, like I want to provide value wherever I possibly can. So yeah, I really just don't hold things back. You can see by the way that I've just explained about coaching and stuff like that. I don't want to hold anything back. I want to help people wherever I possibly can. And yeah, Gary Vee always says it, just free value, like pump out content. He has this concept of like jab, jab, hook. So like just free value, free value, free value, and then you can acquire them as a customer. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to give value wherever I possibly can. In regards to questions, okay. So this is one that I like to discuss with friends, podcast guests, a lot. But what's one common problem or common mistake that you see young men make nowadays?
One common mistake I see young.
It's a good question to spark a conversation, because there's obviously so many mistakes that like young men make nowadays and things like that. But it's interesting to hear people's take on it.
Yeah. I think the one mistake young men make is I always think about myself first, and then I try to think about like what I've observed, and I'm not the type.
It could be you. It could be a younger mistake that a younger Jack has made.
I think the biggest thing is they feel like they're not here to they think ego and trusting yourself is a bad thing, and I think when you engulf yourself in that and you realize that like men are here, like we're here to create and we're here to provide and we're here to like just constantly be evolving, and we have to create ourselves. Like I talked about this with Ibrahim when we had him on, right? Like we talked about like the male to female concept and just how, women they're here to reproduce, and they're here, like they have a purpose, and they're here, to attract male. Topic. They're attracting guys that are building and that are creating. And, yeah.
Sorry. I think there's a little bit of
you're good. I think the biggest mistake is you not trust yourself. Like you gotta have undeniable belief and know that it's okay, because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, sorry. I think there's a little bit of a delay. So like when you say something, But anyway, no, absolutely. Like that's another conversation that honestly we could discuss for another hour about, because I think there's massive differences between men and women, and there's different essences.
We would have got to that on this. We'll do another episode for sure. Because 100%. I think people would get a lot out of that. But I was glad that you asked me that, because since I started taking that concept seriously and just being like, I'm here for me, I'm creating, I'm attracting the right people when I'm creating. It's okay to be Jack. right? And
great,
at
yeah,
17 to 19, it was like, who do I want to be? Like, who do I need to be like? Like, no, like
yeah,
you need to be yourself, and just how you look at it is who you are, right? Like your perspective on everything is ultimately who you become.
yeah. A great book is The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know if you've read that.
I'm not, but I'm going to note it down because each guest keeps
Yeah.
giving me good books to pick up.
Yeah,
What was that one called again?
The Way of the Superior Man. So
Way
it's
of
a
the
great
Spirit,
book,
man.
and it really helps you sort of understand the difference between men and women, and like I don't want to say men and women because obviously the world that we live in is pretty crazy nowadays, but the
There's no
masculine and the
genders
feminine.
or
Yeah, and like
whatever.
the masculine and the feminine essence. So like you can get women with masculine essences, you can get men with feminine essences. There's actually a lot of men with feminine essences nowadays. And it's like what you're attracted to and things like that. Like personally, I'm attracted to a woman with a very feminine essence. That's just what, that's the energy that I'm drawn towards. That's the energy I like to be around when I'm not working on my business and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's a great book to get instead of us going on with this conversation for another hour, like that's a great, book for people out there to go and read, to understand more about your masculinity and more about the masculine versus the feminine essence. If you want to understand more about that, just go and read The Way of the Superior Man, because that is a great book.
Cool. Got one more for me?
Ooh, okay. This is such a basic bitch question. This is just, it's such a basic question, but it's also powerful. So I don't think that you have to be in any way, but because none of us know what's going to happen, like, and you should be fully accepting of like your journey and just taking whatever happens as it comes. But in your ideal scenario, where would you want to be in 5 years?
Gotcha. I didn't know whether you're going to go there or if you're going to ask me, what do I do? Because I get that one all the time. And I'm like I could answer it, but typically it's a different answer depending on who I'm talking.
Boring. Like, that's boring. We already know what you
Yeah,
do. Digital
boring,
marketing,
right?
like,
So, no, good. Where do I see an ideal position for me in 5 years? Um, I I see myself I see it as a continuous growth of what I'm doing now, and it excites me to know how you exponentially grow by growth compounds. So you do everything every day, and like you just start seeing massive results. So in 5 years, I see myself doing 6 figures a month. I think that's more than doable. And I think I also see myself having a big impact. I don't know in what way. I just know I'm never the type to where I care about money. I just think money's like it comes and goes. I just know, like we talked about, that compounding. I'm not afraid to say it. And I know I love the impact I can have when I do the work and provide the value to have that monetary success. So in 5 years, I know I'll be having a big impact. In what field? Who knows? Because like you said, the world's changing. I don't maybe we'll be in the metaverse. Like who knows? But yeah, I'll be having a big impact, and I'll be doing big things with big numbers. It's the best way to put it.
dude, that's awesome. And like, I don't think you saw, but the first thing that you said, I was giving it a round of applause, because the first thing you said was like about growth. And instantly, like when you ask people, where do you want to be in 5 years? They're like, oh, this is where I'm going to be, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you understand that 5 years, you didn't give me like an end goal. You're like, yeah, so I'm going to be in Bali, multimillionaire, doing this, because that growth is like a never ending journey. So even in 5 years, you're still talking about growing beyond that. Which is, so yeah, great answer, man. Like such a good answer. And the fact that in 5 years you still want to be leaving your mark and making an impact, even better. Like, yeah, as you said, like 5 years isn't the end goal. Like there's more that you want to do, like even beyond that. So I'm truly rooting for you. Like I think you're a great guy, and I think you're definitely going to get there. If I can help you in any way possible, then I definitely want to do that. So I
think we'll be in. I think we're gonna end up in some same places, because I put a big impact, like a big point of emphasis, this whole journey, just to be locked in, heading into next year, building what I build now till January, and then not till January, but just like using that as like a benchmark to really plan out 2023. And 2023 is a big networking year for me. Like I see it as going to places like the UK, or going to, mastermind events, hosted by these guys we follow. I've got a plan to go to Bali for a month just to do it, because I'm 22 and, I can do it. Like, but part of that is, okay, make sure I create something that gives me 2K liquid and another 3K liquid to have a good time in Bali for a month. Like, I know you don't need that much, but just, I want to live a certain way and have the systems in place. If that means money to invest in my business, because it might be harder to access while I'm over there, then that's what it means. But yeah, it's like just that growth into.
I've got another question for you. For you. Why wait till 2023?
Like, just being totally upfront, it's 100%. It's financial means, and it's trusting that I have just trusting myself more. I still am building that. In a way, it's building confidence, but it's really building systems that I have faith in, that I feel like I trust myself to manage, being in an environment that I'm not used to. And I think that paired with wanting to have, a certain amount of liquid cash, like ready to just kind of go and execute that is really that. But yeah, that's more why wait. But yeah, I got out of college in May.
So I'll be honest, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So you live in the US right now, obviously. Bali is 10 times cheaper than the US.
Right.
So, financially,
I thought you meant like just traveling in general. Like traveling, I thought you meant just like this, like, I guess, yeah, you're right. I guess Bali would be the first.
But like first place traveling and networking and things like that, like doesn't have to be like, for example, that month that you were talking about in Bali, you can go out to Bali and network and travel and do the things that you're talking about now for literally like a quarter of the price that you're living at now. Like so you're literally going to save money whilst you're traveling and networking. And Bali's a great place to sort of get productive and things like that as well. So, I genuinely think it's something to think about. Maybe you don't have to wait till 2023. Maybe just take the jump and just start now. But I know it's scary. But like, the water doesn't get warmer the longer you wait to jump in, right? So, maybe. No,
100%, it does it. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, and I appreciate you bringing that. Just bringing that to my attention, because like you said, I'm not reminded of it every day when I'm just the one that's saying it. But I definitely no problem with that. Now, kind of our last question here, I usually like to ask, because it kind of touches on the future side of things, but ultimately, man, like, how do you want to be remembered?
I have a whole Google document on what I want people to say at my funeral. And I have a whole document on like George Brock's legacy, George Brock's vision, George, like what,
can you give us
what
a
I want.
Snippet?
What? Yeah. 100%. Like what I want people to say at my funeral and things like that. The main thing is just, George was always a provider, always a protector. George always I'm trying to think back to it now. I haven't looked at it in a long time, which is a good reminder to me. I need to start looking at it like every day again. But yeah, George is a provider. He's a protector. As I said earlier, he sort of knew everything about everything, or he seemed to in a way. And yeah, just George provided value wherever he could, just in general, like a fun loving, kind person. He treated, the guy in the coffee shop the same way that he would treat a member of the royal family. Like, I treat everyone with the same respect, no matter what background you come from, no matter what sort of class you're in, no matter where you are, like in that sort of hierarchy. Just treating everyone with the same respect, kind, fun loving person, provider, protector, knowledgeable, likes to give back wherever possible. All of those things, and constantly willing to grow, constantly willing to learn. Never thought, like I'm speaking in like third person, but like, because I'm speaking like if someone was speaking at my funeral, but like
this is how you'll be remembered, right?
Like George never
third person
thought
from there on out.
like George never thought that he was bigger than someone else. George never thought that he was better than someone else. I always thought like I'm a good sort of challenger, like in any aspect of life. Like I can always challenge you, and I can always like have a debate with you on something, or we can always be competitive with one another, but in no way do I think that I'm better than you. And yeah, just there's so many things, honestly, but yeah, just all round, I want to leave like such a positive impact on the world. And I only want like people to speak about me like positively. And I feel like every day, that's all that I put out, and that's all that I give. I'm hoping so anyway. I hope that people get a good energy from me, because that's all that I'm trying to do. So yeah.
Yeah, man. And, to your credit, I think like we talked about, the little things that allow those things to become true are stuff like this, where you just spent an hour and a half of your time, as a business owner, providing that same, literally word for word, that same energy. I think everyone that watched this really got a taste of that. So obviously, like, we got deeper on some stuff than we did, but they can just tell. You can tell by someone's vibe, 100%. And in our case, sometimes you can tell by their Instagram, but you could tell. And just again, man, I really appreciate you coming on. If you have any final thoughts, or you want to kind of just plug yourself in, it's kind of that 3-minute window to roll into that, and then we'll just stop it and kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, no, 100%. Listen, I really appreciate being here. Obviously, as I said at the start, I've had food poisoning, still sort of recovering. So I hope that I've managed to do like what I've been saying, justice and everything like that, and sort of provide some sort of value to your audience. But yeah, honestly, it's been a pleasure. I'm super excited to see what you do and what you continue to do. I've seen you've been doing podcasts with Will and with Ebbs and things like that, and that's a great group of guys to be connecting with. So I definitely want you to continue on that path and things like that. If I can introduce you to anyone, then I would absolutely love to. But yeah, it's been a pleasure coming on this podcast. I've really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Awesome, man. No, I really appreciate that. Is there anyone that comes to mind that you think would be a good fit for a conversation like this?
Yeah, tons of people, honestly. Like, I've got a whole London network.
Do you want to put them on the spot and throw them on the show, or do you want to text me in private?
I'll give you some names after the pod, but okay. Yeah, because I won't put them out there or put them on the spot or anything. But yeah, I've got a whole London network of people. I've got people out in Bali. I've got people in America. So yeah, there's tons of people that have very similar interests to us, and you could definitely have a good conversation with.
Awesome, man. And cool. Like, dude, like I said, that's likewise, my main base is here, Miami, Florida, but, really starting to build nationwide, and then, you know, getting to make these connections like you and Evan Bali and, you know, Will, who spent a lot of time over there. And then obviously the next guys I have on, you know, I want to make a point to showcase these different parts of the world, because that's the opportunity of the podcast, right? Like, I love the in-person podcast and I'm going to get sweet guests, but those are more like when the guys from out of town are coming to town. Like, Miami's a big pull, so I'm very blessed, you know, to be in a location like that where it's like, it's not very, you don't have to do much convincing. It's just, oh, do you have the means to come to Miami? Stay with me for free. Like, come on, and let's, you know, we could shoot it. So yeah, but awesome,
Well,
man.
I'll have to head out to
Yeah.
Miami, and we'll film an episode 2 or something.
Yeah, dude, we'll get a lot of content, man. Tell me when you're in the US period, because it's like, it's the max flight is 3 hours pretty much anywhere. So yeah, anytime you're in the US, dude. I know Arlen's doing some mastermind in November. Are you going out to that at all? Any plans like that, or not? Not super serious?
I can't imagine I would be, to be honest, but yeah, you know, it's all stuff we can talk about after the pod, and we'll definitely link up at some point. 100%.
Yeah, man. Cool. Let me just